All right, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Scott Picard.
So, tell us about a little bit about your success over the last 90 days. What would you consider some successes over the last 90 days?
All right, so over the last 90 days, let's see, I set up some goals for myself. One is I wanted to get better at my nutrition. I've done nutrition in the past, and I've seen a lot of good results out of it. But things get in the way, and they start dwindling, and then it becomes a habit of not eating well. Started to feel it. So we did a workout. I felt complete garbage, and so we use that as my baseline. So my nutrition kicked in. Night and day difference between when I first did that workout to today when I just finished it. I knocked like 2 minutes plus off that thing, and it felt great. Whereas before, when I finished it, I felt like I was the end of the world. I was just going to pass out. Someone's going to drag me to my vehicle. So 90 days nutrition, huge benefit for everything that I set. So nutrition was one goal. My other goal was to finish a Spartan Beast that I had scheduled and a 50K just regular race. The 50K regular race still didn't happen, but in the meantime, I found another 50K trail race, which was ultimately, I think, harder than the one I was training for. And so with my nutrition, training I put in here, on top of the nutrition, I was able to complete the Beast with a couple friends, no problem whatsoever, and the 50K trail race with not the normal training that one would go into with a 50K and survived happily. So those were my two big goals for my 90 days. I did set myself another goal for front squats because I have trouble with mobility and just overall front squat I feel would benefit everything for me. But unfortunately I didn't really have a good baseline for testing that, so I didn't really get a chance to retest it. But it didn't really have a, I say, detrimental effect from my training from before. It just wasn't any better. I also didn't work on it. But I still feel great for the other two goals that I accomplished because, like I said, nutrition was the biggest thing, night and day different, and dribbling that 50K, it was wonderful.
So, what would you say is over the last 90 days, what was like your first sign of progress that you basically sat there and said, oh wow, this new stuff that I'm doing is making a difference?
Yeah, well, first sign of progress, let's see, it was probably about, I could see my body composition changing just within a week or so of the nutrition program. But I'd have to say when I did our midway, so for the 5 weeks we did our 2.5, and my body composition changed to the point where I had lost, I forget how much body fat, but had gained at least a pound or a pound and a half of muscle mass on top of that. And just from just changing up my diet in an almost, it's like, when you think about it, a very basic way. Just you have to be mindful of what you're doing. And so when I did that, I saw the numbers, and I'm like, you know what? I did notice that these workouts that might have been before, like looking at it, I'm going to be so winded, it's going to be so hard. Just felt a little bit more effortless, you know. So definitely around that midway point, I noticed everything just feeling easier, moving freer, you know, just everything felt less effort.
Mm-hmm. What's the biggest obstacle we helped you overcome during the last 90 days?
Biggest obstacle? Well, getting out of bad habits and getting yourself back into the good, healthful habits. Because like everyone has their normal day-to-day stuff, whether you have kids, no kids, dogs, a spouse, whatever, you just find yourself going to work, coming home, doing the same thing day in, day out. And then you get into these ruts or these bad habits, even if it's slowly, that just, you know, maybe have a couple extra Diet Cokes, or maybe have, you know, this one favorite meal, but that becomes 2 days a week versus just that 1 day a week. Just getting out of those weird habits and being mindful of just doing the right thing, whether it's, you know, coming an extra day when you're not hurting, you're just tired. You're like, I don't feel like doing it. And then you get here and you feel so much better for doing it. And, you know, just those little changes, just being a little bit more mindful of the things you do, was a huge change.
So what are you planning to accomplish over the next 90 days?
Next 90 days. I don't know. That's a tough one. Definitely want to work on my front squats again because my back squats have definitely increased as we did our level method. My endurance for that definitely went up. But again, I think my front squat would have either benefited a little bit more from my mobility, which I tend to lax on. I need to work on that. But if I work on my mobility, I think overall everything again will feel more effortless. You know, now I got to the point where I have less useful body, you know, like that useless body weight on me. So now I have to make sure that the body that's there can move freely through its space, and then everything will feel better. So definitely the front squat, I want to work on that. Definitely front squat endurance and strength. Other than that, man, I'm gonna be very busy over the next few months, so I don't know when I'm gonna have time to focus on.
So is there anything you'd want to share with someone sitting at home, basically in the same shoes you were in 90 days ago?
Yeah, definitely. Whether you're either not in a program right now, if you're thinking about getting into some sort of exercise program, running, CrossFit, what have you, any kind of weight training, if you think it's because you don't think you're fit enough to be in a group environment, or you've never been a runner before, or I got to clean up my nutrition before I start any of this stuff, just do one thing. Do something other than what you were doing, and you'll see changes almost within a week, and then you'll see that change. Like, wow, just that little bit. Now you can build upon that. You do one little thing, then you do two little things, and the next thing you know, you're a whole new person from the month when you first started to now. And then, so like I said, if you do that within a 90-day period with someone coaching you along, I mean, you'll see dramatic changes. And like I said, just in the 5 weeks of my nutrition change, night and day, it's helped everything that I've tried to put forth after that. So just change something, and it'll be great.
All right, thank you.